Hey guys, it's me Charlie. So today I'm going to be doing a roasted chicken in the oven, and I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm actually going to be using a wok. And the reason I'm going to be using the wok is because, this is big. I can put the whole chicken in there, and I'm going to stick some potatoes in there, some sweet potatoes. I'm going to use 2 onions because I love onions. Lots of celery, and these pathetic little carrots. Now, I hate using these kind of carrots because they just look so, I don't know, what's the word? It's kind of cheap. I don't like using it because I'd rather use a whole carrot and just chop it up. It's a little bit more rustic and it looks better. But these were like $1 a bag, and I accidentally ate half the bag, and so I don't have very many carrots, and I kind of regret doing that because I love carrots when I make this roasted chicken. So I'm also going to put some ingredients in there that I'll show you guys in the next video. So let me go ahead and chop this up, and I guess if you guys want to see, I'll go ahead and show you the chopping part. The chicken is organic. I do have all the different parts inside the chicken. I pulled it out. I hate eating the liver, but I like using it because it does add some good flavor, and the gizzards and the heart. But I have little dogs, so of course they're going to enjoy that part. So, and then remember, your cutting board here, you want to use the side that does not have the little channel, because this side is for vegetables, the other side is for meat. Oh, and if you guys have seen my videos, you do remember that, what did I say about this? That's right. Don't forget to take your maxi pad out when you get your meat out of the packages, because you don't want to use that. That's just gross. Okay, so I'll be right back. Alright, on to the seasoning. So what I'm going to be doing to this chicken here is I'm going to add a little bit of oil. So I have some vegetable oil here. I don't have actually olive oil. I ran out of olive oil. But I'm going to use just a little bit of that. And the reason why is because mainly I'm going to be using a whole stick of butter, because we want this chicken to have a nice flavor. And I'm also going to be using just a little bit of oregano because I like the smell and taste to that. I'm also going to add some pepper and salt. You guys like my bottles? That's really cool, isn't it? The salt and pepper shaker. I wish I actually had some beer, because if I had, well, actually I do have beer, but I don't have anybody here to drink some beer, because if I could open up a bottle of Corona or something, I can use like half a bottle to marinate my chicken, but I don't drink beer, so I don't want to waste a can of beer or a bottle of beer. I have fresh cracked pepper that I'm going to be using probably instead of the regular pepper, because this takes long to get out of the bottle. That's mainly for the table. I'm going to be using some chili pepper. Somebody's unorganized. I forgot. I don't have... God, it's so... Ugh. I have more of that. Hot sauce. This is really good. It's very concentrated and tasty. I'm not sure what I'm going to be using hot sauce. Either this... I love Red Hot on everything. But I really like this stuff here. I don't know how to pronounce it. Let's see. Where is the wording? It says oil chili. Oh, and it has peanuts in it. What does it say? Lau Gan Ma? This is Vietnamese? Lau Gan Ma. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce it. But this has got oil, some crushed chilies in here, and some peanuts, which is really interesting. I like that. And then, of course, I'm going to be using some of this tom yum. I like this stuff. It's a paste. It's a sour paste, and it actually makes things taste really good. So, and it's got some color in it, so it's got a nice dark color to it, so it tastes really well, really good. So I'm gonna go grab some of that chili because I forgot, and I was putting this together and completely forgot. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and add some oil to this. I'm going to add a little bit of oil to the body of the chicken. The only reason why I'm adding a little oil is because I want to just lubricate it just slightly with an oil. And then I want to be able to put all the other ingredients on it to, give it some, so it doesn't end up, drying out and burning or anything. Let me go ahead and add a few more ingredients to this, but I need to open up my containers, which I forgot to do before I did the video, so oh my goodness. Alright, so I'm going to add some butter. This butter here is already softened, and as you can see, it's nice and soft. So I'm going to go ahead and just smush this down. Oh yeah, there's a little secret here. There's a disgusting piece. Look at this fat. This is gross. So you know what I'm going to do with this? I'm actually going to throw it in the pan. That way I can have some extra fat, Oh, and I should probably take out this flap right next to the opening of the carcass and throw that in the pan. And again, now most of the time I throw this away because it's just gross. But you know what? I'm just going to add some good fat to this chicken because I want it to be flavorful. And I can, you know, it's going to add extra oils from the skin onto the vegetables and just make everything taste really good. So now this butter isn't really sticking all together onto this chicken, which is okay. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't look all that great. Oh yeah, there's a few more extra pieces in here that I don't like either. I don't like liver. I love the way it smells when it's cooking, but I just don't like it. I don't mind heart. I'll eat the heart. And I love gizzards. I don't know what oh, that's liver too. So actually, you know what? I'm just going to stick that in the bottom of the pan along with that fat. And then I like the neck of the chicken, so I'm going to add that into the pan, on the bottom of the pan. Normally I would put that inside of the carcass here, but who cares? So now I'm going to wash my hands to get some of this oil off. Butter. Let me do that. I'm also going to be adding salt and pepper. Now I'm going to salt it in the beginning just so I can see the salt. Or not see the salt, to add the amount of salt that I'd like in the beginning because I want that to actually seep into my chicken. Another tip is to actually take your chicken and marinate it in salt water and lemon because that actually is going to brine the chicken really well and give it a really good flavor, and it's going to make everything juicy and tender. Let me flip this one over. Sorry that the camera's a little too close, but I just don't have a way of getting you guys to see how I'm doing all the ingredients because I wish you guys can see me actually putting the ingredients on, but it's kind of hard to the way I have it set up here. So now I'm adding some crushed pepper, and I love crushed pepper on my chicken, so I'm going to add quite a bit of it. I hate having to grind it like this. I want one of those electric grinders. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add everything to the front here, and I'll just add to the back of the chicken later. I'm now adding some chili powder. It's a little too close. And I love using chili powder because it tastes really good. It has a lot of ingredients in there like cumin, garlic, onion powder, salt, pepper. Well, actually, I don't think it has salt. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and add some of this crushed pepper here. Now, the thing about this, when you refrigerate it, it actually kind of firms up a little bit. So when you go to open it up, it's like this. It's kind of, you know, firm. But it's okay because you just take a tablespoon of this stuff. That's a lot of crushed pepper. And just maybe 1 tablespoon might be enough. If you like it extra hot, go ahead and add more. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash the spoon again and grab another tablespoon. Alright. And I like this stuff. Look, here's 2 tablespoons. Alright, so now I'm going to add some of this instant sour paste. It's dark, and this is actually very thick. And this stuff here, I just love the way it gives flavor. So this is actually very pasty as well. And I love the way it smells. Yum. It smells so good. Once I get that all mixed up, I'm going to do that. Here's some oregano. Just going to sprinkle a little bit on here. Now, I'm not actually giving you guys any measures because I'm just doing this just because, you know, just kind of open like this because I don't always measure everything, but I know a lot of you guys might have some questions. So I'm doing all this to taste. Now, what else did was I supposed to add anything else? Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to add some of the Red Hot. Nah, I like both of them. The Red Hot is very tasty because it has a lot of vinegar, and I like vinegar. Some people don't like the Red Hot because when they add it to things, it's just too vinegary, but I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of this hot sauce. You guys can see it there. And this is going to be a very tasty chicken roasted in the oven with vegetables. Now I'm going to add some of my Red Hot, because I like this Red Hot. This has cayenne pepper in it, which is probably one of the reasons why, because I like cayenne. Now the Red Hot sauce, I could just use this stuff on everything. Eggs. I love making eggs in the morning and making a sandwich and using the Red Hot sauce. I think that's good for now. I'm going to go ahead and add a few more ingredients, or add some more of the same ingredients on here, just so you guys don't have to continue to watch that part. And as you can see, I made a big mess. And then I'm going to go ahead and chop up the vegetables and show you guys that next. Alright, so you know when I told you guys that I was going to add a little bit more ingredients to this whole chicken here, I really didn't actually. I decided I didn't want to make it too confusing for you guys, and I just kind of left it alone. And the reason why is because it looked really good. It was actually, it has a lot of butter. And you know that tom yum stuff, that it has lemongrass in it. It has a lot of good seasoning, so it tasted really good. So I didn't add anything else extra to this, but I will add a little bit more pepper because I love putting pepper on here. I also like the way pepper looks when it's on top of the chicken, when you're roasting it. It gives it a very attractive look. So I'm going to go ahead and add that extra pepper. Alright, now here comes a little bit of a messy part. I'm going to just grab the legs of this chicken and I'm going to stick it in the wok without it dripping everywhere. Whee! There we go. And look at all the stuff that's still on the bottom. So I hate to have to use my fingers because it takes a while to wash them because of all that butter. There we go. Alright, put this to the side. Alright, so I got Dutch's. That's my miniature pinscher barking. So take a look at that. Oops. That looks good in the wok, doesn't it? Alright, so now let me go ahead and chop some onions for you guys. So here's a whole onion. I actually washed this a little bit. Let me bring this a little forward for you guys to see it better. I actually washed the onions a little bit because when you go to cut down on your onions or on the sides, all the bacteria at the grocery store, when people are touching these onions to look at them and say, oh, this looks good, they're actually just adding bacteria. So you don't want that. Oh, let me show you guys something. This is a stainless steel pot, and I actually put all my scraps in here. There's some plants. So I just throw everything in here. It's my little compost bin. So that's a good idea for you guys. Put a pot on your countertop. If you have a large pot and you want to go ahead and add it to your countertop and just add your food scraps in there, that's a good idea. So you see, I just cut down the middle of this, and I didn't want to add any of that bacteria that might be on the outside of this onion. So it's a good tip to wash your onions real quickly to get rid of any of that. Now, if they come in a bag, not a big deal. But I would still wash them, just because where they were handled, there could be some, I'm sure there is, some bacteria on there. So what I'm going to do with these onions is I actually like them a little bit large. So I like them to have a nice, good chunk of it. So I'm just going to cut down, they're about maybe a ½ inch. Then cut down the side, and then I'm just going to throw these into the pot over here. Let me show you guys that. Sorry for the fish tank mess there. It's actually my oxalotl setup that I have for breeding. So I'm going to go ahead and add these chunks of onions right on top. And I'm going to add one more onion. So you guys don't really need to see the next one being cut. I'll bring you right back as soon as I'm done with. Alright, so I got done chopping the second onion, and I saved just a little bit here. I'm actually going to mince this up a little bit more, because at the very end, once my chicken is done, I like to add a fresh onion at the end. But I really, really prefer red onion, because red onion is a little bit more spicy. I love that. Alright, so now I have some celery here, and I'm going to actually put practically the entire thing of celery into this pot. Now, I do not like raw celery, and last night I was feeling hungry, and I wanted some raw celery. And I wasn't very satisfied. I'd rather just eat my carrots as a midnight snack with a little bit of salt. So wasn't too happy about that. So with the celery, I guess I'm just going to do a rustic good size. I would say rustic just because I like the old-fashioned look of celery being just kind of chopped crazy. They're going to be a good size because, you know, when they're cooked, I like them cooked. I don't like them raw. I don't mind that much. I just started eating them raw, but I really don't like them raw. And last night when I was eating them, I was like, ew, I don't really care for this. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and add this to the top of... Wish I can show you guys that every time I'm moving it. Alright. So I'm going to add this to the top here. Alright, I'm going to dry my hands off a little bit. Bring you back. Now, I like this part of the celery, the top part with all the leafy greeny part. I like that part because it looks really cool. Now that part I like to chop up kind of small. It kind of reminds me of like parsley or cilantro, and it looks very attractive right on top. This is something that I'm going to save for the top of the chicken, so it'll look really nice, all the greenery on top, so I'm going to leave that to the side. And I'm going to put the rest of the celery right on here. Alright, so let me chop this up a little bit more here. Now my pot is actually getting really full. Because I still got to add a bunch of potatoes and stuff, and if I don't have any room in there, I might have to do a separate pot with just some of the vegetables there. I really don't want to. I want it all in one pot. But you know, as it cooks down, it's going to cook down a little bit more, so that'll be fine. Alright, so now, these are the carrots here. I don't like the carrots to be like this, as you guys know. But I'm going to go ahead and add it. Add some pretty color to it. And see that I'm already getting full. So, and the chicken's already hidden. Alright, so let me go ahead and cut up the sweet potato. Now the sweet potato, I'm going to actually keep it in a bowl of water after I'm done cutting it. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll cut it right in front of you guys. And I'll be right back. Alright, so I didn't find something to put the potatoes in that's going to be, you know, filled with water, but I did find this crock pot, so that's good enough. Alright, so I'm going to cut off the ends here. Now this is a sweet potato, and actually what I like to do with my potatoes and sweet potatoes is I take a scrubby under the water and I just scrub until this is really clean looking and really pretty, and it makes the potatoes look much nicer too, because you don't want all that dirt and stuff. So I'm going to cut this down the middle. And I'm going to cut this one more time in half. And these guys, I'm going to cut them into big chunks because as these cook, they actually get very tender. Oh, I forgot to tell you. But yeah, they get really tender, and they will cook too fast, and you don't want that to happen. Now, having this crock pot, which I'm not going to be using to cook, I'm just using it to put water and the sweet potatoes in here. I'm actually going to add some kosher salt, to the water. And the reason why I'm doing that, it's just going to add a little bit of salt to the sweet potatoes and give it that sweet and salty taste, but not really. It's just a little bit. And let me go ahead and cut up this other potato, sweet potato. And again, these chunk sizes are probably about 1 inch thick and 1 inch wide. And I got another sweet potato here. I love sweet potatoes. I love roasting them in the oven with salt and pepper and olive oil, and just roasting them in there and then just eating them like that. I can eat the entire pan of sweet potatoes. Gotta be careful not to cut yourself when these potatoes are too big. Again, 1 inch slices. Add in my salted water. I'm going to do the same thing for the regular potatoes because I want them all to kind of mix in together. Now, in here I just have my salt water, sweet potatoes sitting, so I'm going to put that to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and do the potatoes now. Same thing, I'm going to cut them down the side. Cut them again. And I'm going to make these into big chunks. Now, I won't show you guys this part because you don't need to see it, but I'll come back once it's all put together so I can show you what it looks like, and then we'll stick it in the oven. Oh, I forgot to mention, make sure that you put your, or preheat your oven 350 degrees as you're chopping all this stuff, so that way you can go ahead and get it nice and hot, so it'll be a nice sear to it. Alright, so I'll be right back. Alright, so I got all my potatoes here. I actually took the regular potatoes and put them inside the salt water solution that I have for my sweet potatoes. And I just decided to do that because I like to rinse my potatoes to get rid of that extra starch. I have here a strainer, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in my sink, and I'm going to go ahead and strain out all of the potatoes. That made a lot of potatoes. Now, when you're doing this, why not put a bunch of potatoes into your, roasted chicken? Because that's like the best part, putting all those potatoes in there. Now, this part here, I'm going to go ahead, see this bowl that had a little bit of chicken juice and everything? That still has got a lot of seasoning in it. So I'm going to go ahead and add all those potatoes in here. And I'm going to add just a little bit of the salt here and pepper. You want all your potatoes to be coated. Because otherwise you're just going to have a plain old potato in your roasted chicken, and then maybe the bottom part's nice and roasted and it's got that seasoning on it, and the rest of the potato doesn't. And we're also going to cover this up with aluminum foil, and I'll go ahead and bake all this in the oven. Now you'll notice that this chicken, this recipe, if you follow it to the way I did it, it's going to actually have a little bit of the Asian taste to it, maybe because of the ingredients that I used, but it's really tasty, and it's different from your regular baked chicken, but very similar with the vegetables part. Alright, one other thing I should probably add to this. Nah, I'm just going to ignore it. I was going to add a little oil to it, but this already had a little oil and butter in there. Alright, so let me go ahead and put them in here, and I'm going to do my best to distribute it right on top. All of these delicious potatoes, sweet and regular, are going to be very nicely steamed on top and start to drip down to the chicken, and the chicken's all covered up, so it'll be really tasty. And then what I'll do is I'll remove the potatoes and everything, and so that way I can get the chicken to cook up and color up a little bit, because otherwise it's just going to be like a boiled chicken. You don't want that. Alright, so I got this completely covered. I'm going to smush it down just a little bit, and I'm going to add some of this liquid that's in here. And I'm going to cover this up with aluminum foil, and I'm going to put it in the oven. I'm going to bake it under 350 degrees, and I'm going to bake this chicken for probably about an hour, and then I'm going to remove these potatoes and put them into another pan, and I'm going to put the chicken back in there for maybe another 25 minutes to 30 minutes so it'll color up, and I'll raise the heat to 450. So I'll show you that on the next video. Alright, so it has been 1 hour exactly, and taking this out of the oven, oh my goodness, it's heavy. It's just really hot, so be really careful. Alright, so the potatoes to me don't look done. Actually, they're almost there, so that's good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all of the potatoes on top of the chicken, and I'm going to put it in the bottom, and I'm going to put the chicken on top, and then I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven for another 25 to 30 minutes, so that way we can get the chicken to kind of get some color, because right now it's kind of steamed. So I'm going to show you that as soon as I let this cool and I can get some of the potatoes put to the side. I'll show you that next. Alright, so let me go ahead and lift this chicken up. This is a big hen. There we go. So, oops, a little wing broke. So you just use 2 spatulas here. Now look at all of this juice inside that I ended up getting. Look at all that. From just the hen herself releasing all that delicious juice. Now, you guys know what this pan, how big this is. And look at all those vegetables. That is all the vegetables. I'm going to go ahead and pour this back into this pan here. Remember, we're using a wok. If you guys have a wok, why not put it to use for, if you don't use it for stir fries, of course. Put it to use on putting your chicken in there, or your roasted pork or something. Alright, so that looks pretty. Alright, we'll move this. Move the chicken over. That chicken still needs to cook. So you see there we got a pan with a lot of the potatoes and the sweet potatoes and the carrots and the celery all on top there. Now I got some chopped celery here and some onions. I'm just going to add a little bit of this fresh stuff right on the top here. Then we're going to take our whole chicken again, and we're going to put her back on top of all of those vegetables that we have in this pan with her broken leg, or wing now. Oops, I really broke it now. It's on the other side of her body. Right here. That just means that she's almost getting there to cook. Put her little wing right there. Okay. It tastes good. Now remember all that butter we put in there? That added a lot of flavor. And we have a little bit of oil. I'm going to try this. Yum, yum. That is delicious. And it's slightly spicy. Alright. So as you guys can see, there she is. And on the top here, I'm going to add a little bit more of that celery and onion. So I'm going to go ahead and put her back in the microwave. I'm going to put her back in the oven for another 25 to 30 minutes until she gets some color on her. I want to give her a tan. And God, this smells so good. I wish you guys can... Maybe I should turn on my smell-o-vision. Oh darn, it's broken. Oh well, you guys won't be able to smell it, but it smells really good. I'm going to put it in the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. I'll bring it back out. I'll show it to you guys, and then we're done. Alright, see you guys on the next video. Hey y'all, it's me, Paula Dane. With the amount of butter that I stuck in here, which is a whole cube of butter, no wonder I made that little Paula Deen remark. So, this is the roasted chicken that I did in the oven in this wok. And what I did is I took some of the juice and I poured it on top, and then I took the onions and the celery, and I stuck it right on top to give it a little garnish. Plus it tastes really good. The smell in this house is amazing. It smells so good. Kind of smells a little bit like Thanksgiving because of the celery. But take a look at those sweet potatoes and the regular potatoes. I got some large chunks of celery in there. Got lots of carrots and 2 whole onions, all the delicious seasoning, and this beautiful, delicious, tender chicken. So if anybody has any questions, any comments, definitely let me know if you have any questions. And I guess the next thing to do is just to share this with my little kids. My miniature pincher and 2 chihuahuas. Alright, so I guess until next time, you guys, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Yummy.